Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. One more person has died in Saskatchewan because of COVID-19. The person was in the 70 to 79 age group and in the South region. 9 new cases are being reported, 2 in the North, which includes the Lloydminster region. There are 3 in the South, 2 in Saskatoon, 1 in the Central area, and 1 in the Regina region. 13 people are in hospital, including 5 in intensive care. 294 cases are considered active, and 907 people have recovered to date. Many schools have been forced to change their teaching model for the upcoming school year, and Lakeland College is no different. Eric Bay has more on the school's plans this fall.
I'm joined today by Mike Crow with Lakeland College. Mike, thank you for coming on today. And now we're seeing a lot of schools going to online learning here this upcoming school year, but Lakeland College is going to be doing some hybrid learning with some in-class and some online classes as well. Can you just tell me what went into that decision?
So, yeah, you're quite right. A lot of post-secondaries have come out with announcements about online delivery this fall, and we were looking at that too as an option, especially given some of the restrictions that we thought might be in place heading into the fall semester. But I think what factored into our decision to use more of a hybrid model are two things really. First of all, our students have indicated a strong preference for hands-on learning. I think that's the value proposition that Lakeland College offers to students is, they can come in person and we focus on hands-on work-ready skills. And, so we really wanted a delivery format that allowed for that type of learning to happen. So that was the first driver, I would say, to this decision. The second one is actually, Alberta Health Services and some of the health guidelines that have come out for post-secondary institutions have really allowed institutions to offer in-person, on-campus learning experiences to students. And, there's some restrictions to that we're certainly going to follow, but for the most part, students are able to come back to campus and learn in an in-person format. Now, some of the restrictions still will require some online delivery. So the hybrid approach that you referenced made lots of sense to us. We feel like we can kind of get the best of both worlds, right? We can follow what the health guidelines are expecting, and we can also make sure that students have access to the hands-on learning that they come to appreciate from Lakeland. So the hybrid model gives us the best of both of those worlds.
And now what kind of safety measures and protocols are you guys going to have put in place at the college for when students do return?
Yeah, it's going to look a little different for students for sure. So there's limits. There's going to be limits on class sizes. So we're going to, there's going to be fewer students in any given class. The 2-meter physical distancing requirement is in place for most of our activities. So we're going to be asking students and staff when they're on campus and using common areas to be wearing a mask. So we're going to be inviting everybody to help us with some of the sanitizing requirements that, before we use a workspace or after we're finished using a workspace, right, that we're going to have to make sure that we're following proper cleaning protocols. So it is going to look and feel a little bit different than what it typically has, but I think we're willing to do a little bit of that extra work in order to have in-person classes.
And now also, is there kind of a process in place for if, students or staff, if they are showing any symptoms at all, what they need to do, whether it is stay away, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So one of the new requirements is that everybody who's coming onto campus needs to complete a daily self-check assessment where they evaluate how they're feeling against a description of symptoms, and if there's any indication of a symptom, then they're asked to stay home that day. So we are being quite vigilant about people's health and well-being. The safety of our students and the safety of our staff is our top priority in all of this, and so yeah, if anybody's exhibiting any kind of symptom at all, we're asking them to stay home. Because we are delivering our programs in a hybrid model, there's still an opportunity for those students to access the course content that they would be missing if they had to stay home for a time. If we do end up with a positive case, obviously we'll be working with Alberta Health Services directly. They would get involved and they would kind of take it from there with their contact tracing and all of the other work that they do whenever there's a positive case. And of course, we would support that as much as we could.
And now you brought it up, but I know a ton of people I've talked to with Lakeland have brought it up, and just the fact that, again, that hands-on learning is a pretty big draw to the school. How important was it for you guys to be able to continue that this year, and also for the students' education to continue to provide that hands-on learning despite all this?
Well, yeah, I mean, Lakeland College has very skills-focused curriculum. We rate among the very highest in Canada as far as work-ready skills and skills-focused curriculum. And, and so, when there was the prospect of losing some of that was a big concern to us. And, I think it's one of the big reasons why students choose Lakeland College. And so the opportunity for us to continue to offer those skills in an in-person learning format was great news for us, and obviously was something that we readily embraced. So it was a big priority for us. We were really concerned about it in the spring when there was uncertainty about what delivery model would be available to us. Once we learned, though, that some in-person delivery was an option, we were pretty quick to support that as part of our plan. And so we're really excited about it. I think the feedback from our students has been really positive about the fact that they can come and still access.
All right, Mike, we really appreciate your time here today. Thank you.
This week we are seeing temperatures close to the 30-degree range around the Midwest area, and Lloydminster residents are finding ways to try and avoid the heat. At Bud Miller Park this afternoon, families gathered to spend the day outside in the cool water. As the BioClean Aquatic Center is currently closed due to COVID-19, kids played in the splash park and enjoyed lunch in the shade. This heat wave is giving people more time to enjoy the outdoors and activities around the border city.
First of all, here at the water park, we're making sure we're getting in the water lots, keeping us cool. We got a nice table in the shade, so that's good. Where my grandkids, who I'm with today, we've all got our hats on to help out, provide some shade and stuff like that. Keep them hydrated.
To have fun with my friends, and so I can stay cool, and so usually me and my friends just dump water on each other.
Well, we're not from the area, so we're in the area working, and we're just playing at the splash park, trying to keep cool and enjoy the hot weather and the area while we're here.
Making sure we're staying hydrated and spending time in the shade are good ways to avoid getting overheated. The heat warning from Environment Canada is expected to last for the rest of the week. Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Yes, it was a great day to go out for the spray park. It was very hot. It's going to continue to be that way. It's currently right now, we're sitting at 29 degrees right now, so we're just a little shy of 30 degrees right now with clear skies, a little bit of cloud coverage. We could see maybe a little bit of cloud coverage heading into the evening, as we'll show just the satellite radar map here in just a second here. But take a look at some other areas right now along the region. 30 in Vermilion and St. Paul, 28 also for Vegreville, 29 degrees out in Edmonton, down in Provo sitting at 33 degrees right now, fairly warm down there. 30 also in Macklin, and 29 degrees for both Maidstone and North Battleford. 28 also in St. Walburg, and more 30-degree marks in Meadow Lake and Green Lake, while Cold Lake sits at 31 degrees and Lac La Biche sits at 28 along with Bonnyville. So what I was talking about with cloud coverage here, there is some cloud coverage and some possible thunderstorms in the Edmonton area, and it could make it to our way mostly for the evening parts in the coming days. But for right now, we're still going to continue to see some of that heat coming into our city right now, along with the Midwest region here. So we're going to continue to see those heat waves, but we could see some evenings where we could see some cloud coverage coming. So take a look at North Battleford overnight, 16 degrees, a little bit of cloud coverage, going to 31 degrees tomorrow for the daytime highs. The heat warnings continue on for the regions here. 60 degrees overnight in Cold Lake with cloud coverage there, and 27 tomorrow with a little bit of cloud coverage could be expected there. And then for us here in Lloydminster, some clouds expected for tomorrow, but still with that heat continuing on with that high of 28 degrees. But as we take a look at the next 3 days, we could get a little bit more cloud coverage on Thursday. Thursday with that high of 26 degrees as well. Maybe cool down just a little bit there. We still will have those great clear skies and some great weather for Friday with that high of 24 degrees and all clear skies as we, of course, get ready for the long weekend there. But that's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Mental health continues to be a topic discussed, and even more so during the COVID-19 pandemic. Connor Chan spoke with former PTLN anchor Michaela Henschel about her mental health journey, a warning some of the topics discussed could be a trigger for some of our viewers.
Well, I'm very pleased to be joined with one of my former colleagues, Michaela Henschel. Michaela, first off, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Connor, for having me. It's good to be back on PTLN.
Absolutely. I know we talked to you before in the past, but that was about a different subject. And of course, this time it is a different subject because recently you were on My Why podcast with Jesse Manning, Chris and Travers talking about your mental health struggles. And, you know, like myself, I've known you for a while, but obviously we didn't know a whole lot about you and in that regard. So just to give us a little bit of a summary on the discussion that you had with Kristen and Jesse about your mental health struggles.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely a weird thing because obviously as a former colleague, I used to be in your seat kind of asking people the same questions. So it's weird to become the story, but you know, my why, since I was in Lloydminster, I always found was such an amazing cause and is the cause that I got help because of the stories they were telling. And I think that's such an important thing that they're doing is, you know, making it aware that there is people in your own community that are suffering. So myself, I suffer with chronic depression, anxiety, PTSD. Unfortunately, I was sexually abused as a child, so that came into play. And, you know, everyone reaches a breaking point, and I think, unfortunately, that just happened while I was in Lloydminster, and it just overtook me, and I had to take a step back and go into treatment. But it is because of my why and the mental health initiative that's happening within not only Lloydminster but all over that is helping people, and I'm so happy to be part of that movement.
One of the things you talked about on that podcast was, you know, you were a little worried to kind of, you talked to our bosses, and was there any worry about what your career may possibly, what a toll this could possibly take, or are you just saying, you know what, I just need help, doesn't matter what happens with that regard?
No, of course. It was, you know, I suppressed so much of my anxiety and my depression because, you know, I was trying to be that news anchor. I was trying to be, you know, the one that wasn't the story. So there was a lot of suppressing it. But I think at the end of the day, I'm just human, and I needed help. And I don't think I really could have gone forward without asking for that. And I wouldn't be in the place that I am today. But of course, I, you know, went and traveled Australia, and I came back, you know, contemplating, did I do the right thing? Because, you know, it's a career that I loved and I had to take a step back from for my health. But I do hope to get back into it one day. I just don't know in what capacity that would mean. But of course, it's crossed my mind. But at the end of the day, I think I took the right steps I needed to do for myself and for my mental health.
You know, one of the things you talked about was, you know, the plea for more doctors focusing on mental health, because when you were going to see these doctors, some of them, you know, it took either too long or they just they weren't educated about that subject. So just talk about the plea that you were mentioning on that podcast of, you know, the need for more mental health focused doctors.
Yeah, this is definitely something that with this past year and a half through my mental health struggle, I've really learned a lot about. And I know we have Bell Let's Talk Day, and, you know, there's social media campaigns talking about let's end the stigma, let's talk about it. I think we're past that point. For sure, there's still a stigma, but we've passed the point where it's okay to talk about it. And, you know, I think there's enough people that know that you can talk about it and they have their supports. Now, the problem now is accessible and affordable healthcare for mental health. We have our government telling us how important mental health is, yet it's not accessible. I was on a waiting list for 7 months before I was able to see a psychiatrist. And in that time, I was already admitted to the hospital in the psych ward. So there's obviously a really large gap. And, you know, had I wanted to go through public treatment, I would have had to wait months, but I had the privilege to go to a private center, which being in the private and the public mental health care, I just noticed such a vast difference. And there was just so much lack of education in the public health system, and it's a long wait list. Whereas, if you have money, you can get in the next day, and I don't think that's fair. And I don't think it's fair that the government tells us that mental health is our priority, just like a doctor would be. Just they say it's just as important, but yet my appointments with my counselor are $200 an hour. There's just an unjust. So we're talking about it, but then who can afford it? It's not coming hand in hand anymore. I think that's really the big issue, is like it's unaffordable. Medicine is expensive. I think just doctors in general need to be more versed in mental health, because especially in the world today, people who haven't dealt with mental health through this pandemic are now dealing with it for the first time. And they're going to see it's going to take them months to get in, and it's just not fair. So I think I'm a really strong advocate for getting everyone the right course of action in a timely fashion, because that is really what is lacking, and it is expensive.
Absolutely, and of course many families still continue to worry about those costs, and I know a lot of people are advocating for that as well, like yourself. And just lastly, Michaela, I know with many people sometimes they don't want to talk about their struggles, or they're afraid to talk about it. So why now talk about your struggles?
You know what? It was just a personal choice. I think through suppressing, my sexual abuse for so many years, and while I was a news anchor over at Primetime Local News, it was a lot of the Me Too movement, and it just all triggered me. And it was because of my why, when I was covering those stories, that I noticed it's not just me, and it's one of those my why Tyler's story that I helped cover that gave me the courage to say I need help. And I have so many people who have messaged me being like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you were sick. I never would have thought. So it's such a common thing. I think it affects almost everyone in the world knows someone who's affected by mental health. It's your neighbor, it's your brother, it's your mom, everyone at this point. So I think it's important to share my story in hopes of helping someone, because I was once that person that got help because of someone else's story. However, I don't think that everyone needs to come out and tell their story. That's a very personal thing. And if you want to keep it to yourself, that's completely okay. But, I felt like I am in a good, healthy point in my life where I felt I was ready to tell my story and hopefully help somebody out.
Well, that's really great to hear, Michaela. And if anyone that's watching, if you or yourself, or if you know someone that is in need of help, please call your nearest health authority, or if you need immediate help, please go to the hospital. But Michaela, thanks a lot for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Connor.
Now taking a look at sports in the North Saskatchewan River Baseball League, the Border City Blue Jays were in action last night. Evan Kenny has more on how the game went down.
Heading into Sunday night, the Border City Blue Jays were not the team the NSRBL saw last season. After going undefeated through last year's regular season, the Jays started off this season 1-3. After splitting a doubleheader on Sunday, the Jays took on the Unity Junior Cardinals last night. After 4 shutout innings from both teams, the Jays finally broke the drought after Curry Carlson stole home.
Well, we had a lot of good at-bats all game, saw a good pitcher, but we did a good job of grinding out good at-bats, putting the ball in play, didn't strike out a lot. Played well defensively for the most part, and then just found ways to score wherever we could, whether it was stealing home or on a pass ball.
Colby pitched a heck of a game. He came in, he threw yesterday too, so and he threw 3 or 4 good innings, and then the rest of the guys came in and finished out strong. We had a midget kid coming through 3 strong for us, so and pretty good defense for the most part, other than a few, which is normal.
Hopping on the mound in the 6th inning was affiliate player Ellis King. King helped push the game into extra innings, only giving up 1 run.
Yeah, we were pretty confident in him. He's got his coach is here too playing for us, so he told us he's the man. So he's good, yeah.
In extras, the Jays shut down the Cardinals defensively before bringing out the bats. Caden Zacharias hit a walk-off double to give the Jays a 3-2 win.
I was just looking for a good pitch over the middle of the plate that I could drive in the gap somewhere, try and score Maddie from second, and I saw a nice little cement mixer slider over top the middle and just put a good piece on it.
The Jays' next game is next Tuesday against the Lloydminster Twins, where we'll see part 2 of the battle on the border. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Yes, it was fairly hot last night. It continues to be so for the next couple of days, as we are still in that heat warning right now for most areas here in the Midwest region, as well as in the northern and southern areas of Alberta and Saskatchewan. We'll take a look at right now, 29 for Lloydminster right here. Cold Lake up sitting at 31 right now. Also 31 degrees in Jasper, with 30 degrees for Rocky Mountain House and 29 degrees out in Edmonton and in Red Deer, with 28 for Athabasca and Whitecourt. Take a look at the Saskatchewan side right now, 32 out in Saskatoon, while Melfort sits at 28 degrees and Prince Albert sitting at 29 along with North Battleford. Now, as we take a look at the northern temperatures, fairly warm up in northern Saskatchewan. There, the Losh and Buffalo Narrows both sitting at 31 degrees. Stony Rapids up further, sitting at 32 right now. South End and Wollaston Lake both sitting at 28 degrees right now, while Larange and Flin Flon sitting at 29 for Larange and 25 degrees for Flin Flon. So here's what we see in the Alberta side right now, 23 degrees for Peace River and Slave Lake, so a little bit cooler, and especially up in that high level area, 22 degrees right now, 33 out in Fort McMurray right now, with 24 up in Grand Prairie right now. So here is where a lot of the heat is accumulating from that southern areas of Saskatchewan. They are in that heat warning still, as I did mention. Medicine Hat has been one of the warmer places in Alberta the last couple of days there, as they're sitting at 34 degrees right now. It continues to rise there. 33 in Lethbridge, 27 for Calgary, 30 degrees out in Banff right now, and 33 in Coronation. Over in the southern Saskatchewan areas right now, 29 for Moose Jaw and Estevan and Yorkton, 28 degrees, in Regina, 30 for Kindersley, and 31 degrees in Swift Current. So here's what the rest of the country looks like right now. 29 in Toronto with sun and a bit of cloud coverage there. A little bit more cloud coverage in Quebec City, sitting at 27 degrees right now. St. John sitting at 14 with cloud coverage. 29 in Halifax with mostly sun and a few clouds. Taking a look out west as we move to Vancouver, cloud coverage right now for them sitting at 22, 23 up in Yellowknife, and 13 degrees out in Whitehorse. And of course, Edmonton with mostly clear skies and a bit of cloud coverage. It could see possibly some thunderstorms and some rain over in the evening parts of tonight. So here's what we could see for tomorrow. We are still in that heat warning. It could last up to the rest of the week here. 28 for Lloydminster and Vermilion tomorrow. Marwayne also sitting at 28 degrees. 27 for Vegreville and Edmonton, along with St. Paul and Bonnyville sitting at 26 with Lac La Biche. And then Cold Lake and Pearsland also sitting at that 27 degree mark. We'll see some 29s out in Maidstone, Wainwright, and Provost, and 30 degrees in Macklin, and 31 tomorrow for North Battleford. 31 also we can see in Green Lake and Meadow Lake for tomorrow. So here's what the next 7 days look like as we of course get ready for that long weekend heading up on the Friday there. 26 degrees on Thursday though, 24 on Friday as we'll have some clear skies for that day there. 26 on Saturday, and then 29 degrees on Sunday, where it gets a little bit of increased cloud coverage. Then here in Lloydminster for that holiday Monday there, we'll have a nice high 31 degrees for the daytime high, and then 24 for the high on Tuesday. We're way above average for this time of year with our average highs and our average lows. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. We're joined here once again with Becca Lawrence from the Lloydminster and District SPCA. How are you doing today, Becca?
Doing good, and how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So who do we got here today this week?
Oh, this handsome guy here, this is Werewolf. So he's been in our care for a little while. Not too long, but yeah, he's just been here for a short little bit. He's a little bit older. We don't think any more than like 5 years old, but yeah, he's being pretty kind of nervous right now, but he's typically normally quite a happy.
Mm-hmm. Does he live up to his name? Is he a bit of a wildcat? Does he like running around lots?
So we named him that because when he first came in, he was a bit scraggly looking, and he's got a bit of the resting grump face kind of thing going on. So that's how he got his name. But he's actually quite affectionate. He's one where if you don't give him his attention, he's going to let you know his disapproval of that. He tends to give you a couple little nibbles, or he even sometimes wraps himself around your leg so you know he's there. But yeah, so he can be a little bit of a troublemaker, but he's pretty good. He's quite a loving guy.
Beautiful. So if anybody out there is looking for a cat that just, is looking for love and pets all day, then Werewolf is a great choice for you. What else do you have for animals in there right now? Becca, do you have lots of cats? How's the dog situation going as well?
Yeah, like we're obviously still pretty full on cats. We have a few litters that are probably going to be ready to come back from foster care right away. And we have quite a lot of dogs, actually. So we just in the last few days, we've had a little bit of an influx of dogs coming in. So we're working on hopefully getting them home, or we're going to have to start getting them in for some spays and neuters and trying to find them some homes. But we got quite a variety of dogs right now, so it's come in and check it out.
Okay, well, that's good news for anybody out there in the border city who is looking for a dog. Obviously, you guys have lots right now, so stop in, definitely say hi. You guys also do the foster program too as well, correct? So that might even be a good option for somebody who maybe is looking for a friend for the last little bit of summer to get outside with, something like that.
Yeah. We posted on Facebook, I think, on Saturday, and we had 3 people call to become fosters. So that's really good, because we do have at least 5 litters here that need to go in a foster right now too, until they're old enough, or even just to socialize them right now. So we got a couple feisty little kittens that need some socialization, but yeah, so we are getting a response, which is really nice.
Well, that's good to hear. And I know we talk about it every week, but donations are something that's super important for a nonprofit like yourselves, especially, right now not being able to host fundraisers and things like that. And I know you guys do take actual item donations, so perhaps there's somebody at home who, would like to drop off some functional items for you guys. Is there anything that you're low on right now, as far as, say, animal food or anything of the nature?
Yeah, actually, like towels, we're running really low on towels right now, so we could use a lot more of those. Even some kitty toys we're running a little bit low on. We're doing really good for like cat food and wet food. Kitten food we can use a little bit more of as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're doing pretty good for dog stuff. They're not picky most of the time, but but yeah, obviously, like we say, you can donate through our website as well, or over the phone if you don't want to come in, which is fine. But we're always happy to see your faces here as well.
Beautiful. And Becca, just one more question here real quick, but it has been very hot this week, and I know myself, my dog has been having a little bit of trouble dealing with the heat in the house during this hot summer period we have here right now. Do you have any advice for people at home who have animals on how to keep them cool during this time?
Yeah, we've kind of been talking about it a little bit this week already, but if you don't have to take your animal with you in the vehicle, don't. It's just obviously, especially if you kind of have a newer vehicle, you pretty much can always guarantee the AC is going to work. On that off chance if it doesn't, or even if you're home and you don't have AC at home, if you get them a paddling pool, something like water, keep fans on, kind of thing. Just as long as you have a nice shaded area and lots of water to get access to. It's one of those things where they don't sweat like humans do, and they sweat through their paws, or even cats are a little bit different as well, but they all have those fur coats on there, so they do get a little bit warmer. So yeah, it's always nice, especially even with dogs too. You can always lay down wet towels kind of outside. You can lay on those as well too. But yeah, there's lots of things you can do for your animals at home.
Beautiful. Well, lots of ways to keep your pets comfortable during this little hot period we have going on. Well, that's all the time we have for this week, but I want to say thank you once again, Becca, for joining us, and we will see you again next week.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm joined today with Mansour Azim from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in Lloydminster. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thanks for inviting me.
So first of all, something I wanted to discuss was last time we talked, no one was coming to your mosque and you guys were doing things virtually. Now things have changed slightly. So can you just talk a bit about how things are going?
Since we have got the green light from the Saskatchewan Authority to open our places of worship, we have opened our mosque. We got this, the stage where the places of worship were opened was on June 8th, but we actually got some, things going and everything bringing in. So we opened our mosque on June 12th. Bringing every sanitizers, marking the places. So we have marked the places where the worshippers will be standing, and they will be doing physical distance instead of standing toes to toes and shoulder to shoulder. Instead of that, they will be doing physical distance in the mosque, and that's how we are praying right now. It's different than normal, definitely different, but I guess it's a new world.
So for some of the people who are coming to your mosque, what are some key things that they see that are different? Is there maybe certain times that people can come, or are you having people maybe wait before they're able to come in?
Well, the mosque is open for 5 times a day, just as regular. People, when the members come for the congregation, they must wear a mask. And during, when they are inside the mosque, and also they have to bring their own prayer mat, right? And that's one of the things. And we have marked the places where they will be spreading that prayer mat, where they will be praying, and it's we have made sure that they are physically, distance from each other, so they are 6 feet apart. So,
and how important was it for you and members of your community to be able to get together physically at the mosque? Maybe there's still social distance, but actually to be somewhat closer together.
Well, we missed Eid ul-Fitr. That was a month ago, and that was one of the major celebration in the Islamic calendar. A lot of members actually missed it, and the Eid ul-Adha that's coming on Friday, July the 31st. A lot of members are joining congregation, and they wanted to come to the mosque. And when the mosques were open, we saw some enthusiasm to come to the mosque.
And like you mentioned, coming up this week, another major celebration in the faith calendar is coming up. Can you just talk a little bit about maybe how things will be going this year compared to other years, and just a little bit about the event in general?
So the second celebration that's coming this Friday on July 31st, that's what we call Eid al-Adha, or the Eid of Sacrifice. And you probably have known that around 2.5 million people every year, just on these days, goes to Saudi Arabia, Mecca, to perform the pilgrimage, to perform the Hajj. But this time it's very different. They have allowed only 1,000 people to come to Saudi Arabia and perform the pilgrimage. So it's already different. People are not able to go to Saudi Arabia and perform pilgrimage, right? That's the first time in many years, at least in my lifetime, that I've seen that people are not allowed to go to perform Hajj or pilgrimage. And similarly, when we talk about local Eid al-Adha or local Eid of Sacrifice, then again, although we have allowed our members to come to the mosque, but you have covered previous Eid celebrations, and you have known that people after Eid, they celebrate each other, they hug each other 3 times, and that's a tradition how we celebrate this. But this time it will be very different. We have asked them not to shake hands, not to hug each other, and probably that's the first time that I'm going to see an Eid like this where people are not hugging each other traditionally.
And obviously that's going to be a different aspect with no contact. And obviously people are disappointed, but have your worshipers been understanding of the health guidelines and understanding kind of the responsibility that they have as well?
Yeah, a lot. Wearing mask is probably a different thing. Probably a difficult thing. It's obvious, but they are understanding. They know that this is to keep others safe. This is to keep themselves safe. And within the mosque, within the limit of mosque, they are required to wear a mask, and otherwise they will not be able to attend the congregation.
Well,
But they
thanks.
are understanding.
Perfect. And thanks for taking some time to talk with me today, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Jess.
All right, taking one last look here, sir. Weather forecast here. Taking a look at this across the 7 days here. 28 degrees for tomorrow. It could be our daytime high. 26 on Thursday, as we are experiencing that heat warning still. That could continue on into the coming days here. As you can see, I don't think the heat's going to let off anytime soon, as we have a nice 24-degree clear day on Friday with clear skies there as we get ready for that long weekend. 26 on Saturday, and then 29 on Sunday. We'll have a little bit of increased cloud coverage there. We could see some more clouds rolling into the evening areas for most of these days coming up here. And then we hit a 30-degree mark there on Monday with the high of 31 there, with mostly clear and a cloud mix there. And then 24 on Tuesday with that high, and then mostly sun and cloud mix there. We're way above our averages, as we average 23 for our high and 11 degrees for our low. So we get those warm temperatures into the morning as well.